Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we're going to fix this COB light. So this is an LED cob light, and you can see all the LEDs, the ones that are still alive anyway, are lit, and all the ones that are dead are black. So they're going left and right. So you can see that none of them are making a complete circuit anymore. So there should be 10 of these all in a line all the way across. And yep, a lot of them are all dead. So this LED is dead. So rather than replacing the entire unit, we can open it up. We can take out one of these. You can buy these on eBay, they're cheap enough. And I'm going to replace this like for like. So these are 20 watts, that's 30 watts, doesn't make any difference. The one major difference that you will notice is it'll have a bit less light, but the other, because we're going down to 20 watts, this will cool better. So if you turn around, if you're ever buying one of these lights and you want to know a good quality from a bad quality, this is a poor quality one because I was being cheap and I didn't know this at the time. You can see all these fins, and a good quality expensive one will have more fins than this, and they'll also be deeper. So these are quite shallow. They're not that shallow, but they're about 1 centimeter deep, where maybe a more expensive one might have a 2 centimeter deep or 3 centimeter deep fins, and there'll be more fins in between these as well. So now, that's not really the problem at the moment. The main problem is, you can see all the LEDs are dead. So obviously the first thing is to take it down off the wall, which I've done. It's two 10 mils either side. There's a nut there and a nut on this side. Obviously I'm going to unplug it before going near it. And then we're going to start in on taking it apart. Probably the first thing we'll do is undo these 4 screws here. These are the tools we're going to need. So 10 mil spanner to take off the nuts left and right. Phillips screwdriver, always important to take off the screws that go around the frame. Vice grip in case any of those screws get a bit stuck because they have been out in the elements. Snips in case we need to cut any wires. Strippers in case we need to strip off any white cabling. Not always, those two aren't super important, or these 3 aren't super important, but just in case we did need them. We definitely will need the soldering iron and the solder. This is the solder I like to use, which is a 60-40 split. Little pokers here, which is always really handy in case you need to just get in there and just poke a little wire or something like that. Heat compound paste, definitely will need this. You cannot do this project if you do not have heat compound paste. It's very cheap. You buy it on eBay for, I don't know, about €1 or 2. And these are the LED lights that I'm going to be replacing. These are also very cheap. You can buy them on eBay. They're just COB lights, and that's what they look like. You can buy them in different wattages. These are 20 watts. This was a 30 watt. I'm just going to replace it with 20 watt. It doesn't make any difference, and yeah, very simple. Okay, now the screws are removed. Remove that. There. Now there's glass. So good quality one will have glass, cheap one will have plastic. This is actually glass, so be very careful lifting it. So I'm going to probably use a screwdriver and just get in here and just try to just lift it. Yeah, okay. So what they do is, these are cut square, and then they just quickly just chop them left, right, all the corners here. So these are razor sharp, so just be careful when you are opening it. That's that, and there's a gasket underneath. So the way that you know, obviously, when you're putting it back is that the writing has to be on the top. Okay, so it is disconnected, that's good. So next job is to undo these corners here. So normally what they do is they just put one in each corner, and they don't buy with these two. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, just depends. Also, usually there's no earth, so I have added an extra earth. Although lighting circuits don't actually need an earth, so it's up to yourself if you want to add an earth or not. It's obviously safer that if this was energized or there's electricity flowing through it and you touched it, you'd get zapped. But if it's, I don't know, if it's up in the roof or whatever, you're never going to be up there anyway, so it's 50-50 whether you want to earth it or not. Okay, where's my screwdriver? Okay, now time to undo these. Okay, you can see that obviously when they were putting it in, they wrung the nut, so, or the screw, so that's not going to be opened. A little spider. Okay, so we can still work around it, we can still just kind of pull it out of the way. There we go. It's off now anyway. So this is the earth that I added. So everything is now earthed. I'm going to leave that in and I'm going to replace it back with a like for like. Okay, so this is slightly different to most people what you'd have, but it's very, very simple. So brown is our live in Ireland and the UK. So brown comes in, or live comes in, goes down to the PIR sensor, which is basically a movement detection switch. So if it sees movement, it'll complete the circuit or turn on the switch. The red will come up, turn on all the LEDs, and then obviously it wants to complete the circuit, so you have to have the green wire is also a neutral or a negative. So it comes around, joins into your blue and back down again. But also the PIR sensor also needs a neutral, so that's what the second blue is for, or there's two wires here, and that comes all the way down. So the PIR sensor is working all the time, and only when it sees a movement, it'll turn on the switch. Very, very simple. If you didn't have a PIR sensor, it's even more easier. So the brown just goes straight up to the live, and the neutral or the blue will go straight up to the negative. How do you remember which one is which? Well, it's very, very simple, and it's a very funny joke. If you touch the wires, which color would you shit your pants? So if you touch the live wire, you're going to get shocked, so you're going to shit your pants, so it's going to be brown. If you touch the neutral wire when it's obviously plugged in, it's not, there's no power in it, so you're not going to shit your pants. So that's the joke. It's the easiest way to remember it, so brown is always live. Okay. Yeah, so time to now start taking this apart. So the first job I like to do is just desolder both of these. So remember that the green and the blue have to stay together, and the red is on its own. And when we're putting the new one back, it even tells us which one is which. So the L is live and the N is neutral. So when we're replacing this, we have to choose an orientation that we want to do. So there's pre-drilled holes. You see some extra ones here. So you could go that way, or you can go that way or that way. And the way I like to do it is try to keep these wires here, which is these little connectors, as close as you can to where they come in or go through the frame. So you don't want wires like trailing all over the place. You want to keep them as short as possible.
Okay, now we're back to unbuilt space.
Not really sure why it failed, but it might have been there and there that were just bad. Anyway, this is our new light. So I'm going to just clock it there, have it correctly as it goes in this way, I think. Okay. Yeah, there's a hole just there and a hole just there, so it'll work. So, how do you put on heat compound paste? That's very simple. This is your plunger or your syringe full of heat compound paste, and the number one rule, once you put it on, don't take it back off again. So if you, wherever you put this, once you put that down, when you pull it up, either clean it off again and put new stuff, but don't reuse it. For the simple reason, when you see this here, you can see the way it kind of goes all little bubbles everywhere. So when you're applying this, you just put one big dab in the middle. Don't go like that everywhere. Just one big go in the middle. Push it down. And when you're pushing it down, you can move it around a bit. But don't put loads of little tiny ones, because you end up with air bubbles then everywhere. You just want one decent one in the middle, or even like one decent, you know, like a line or something like that. Okay, so now once attached, we're going to start drawing these wires back. So what I like to do is pre-impregnate the centers here. That's a lot of smoke. Okay, so what I mean by pre-impregnate is you get the pads, you just put extra solder onto them, so then when you actually heat up the solder that's still here, it's easier to join everything. So we said red was always on the bottom, and that's live, so that's going to be live again. Just like that is joined, and this is the more difficult one because there's actually two wires. I might actually put that screw in there because it's just annoying me and in the way. Right, it's only in loose, but it'll do. That's one joined, and then always a slightly harder connection is joining the second one. Okay, got them all joined now. That's brilliant. So now it's time to add the screws. So obviously that screw is in there. I'm going to add a second screw over here. I picked up the right screw. So I'm just clocking it there just to line it up. You can see some of the heat paste is coming out, but it doesn't matter. Once it's down, do not lift it again.
That's in.
Obviously, if you had 4 screws, it'd be better. I wouldn't put a screw there because it's too close to the wires here, but I'd definitely try to get another screw up here. So just looking at the old light, so the LEDs are here, so there should have been a big blob just here, and there wasn't. And this is where the diodes are, so they're taking AC in, turning into DC, powering the light, but also a lot of heat or energy is giving off, and that's what these all get hot, and the LED lights here are also getting hot. So there should have been probably kind of in the shape of a T, so there should have been a big blob here, then coming down in the shape of a T to try to keep everything cool. But the most important thing is don't put loads of dots, just put one big, either a massive blob in the middle, or kind of do a line like a line of mountains kind of in the middle, and then when you're pushing it down, do little turns but never lift it back up again because you let the air back in. And I'd say that's probably what happened, that one. That's why it failed. It probably failed in 2 counts. One, there wasn't enough heat compound paste, and the other one was probably someone lifted it and then put it back down again. Okay, so right, that's the hardest part of the entire thing done. Now it's only a matter of just putting it all back together again. Just the aluminium surround. Now the glass is going back on. Remembering never to touch the corners because they are razor sharp. And then just the lid. Okay, that's it now, all back together again. Now time to test it. Brilliant. So it's all working. That's the light. It's very hard to see, but yep. I can't even show you the LEDs. That they're all. It's overpowering the camera, but every single LED is now working, which is brilliant. Okay, so now time to install it. Okay guys, so there you have it. That's now the light now installed, and it's fully working, and the yard is really well lit up. So if you like this video, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. If you can, support me on PayPal. The link is in the description below. As always guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.